Hello and welcome to the Hotel Marketing Show. In this podcast, we're going to talk about all things hotel marketing. We're going to talk about things that are happening in the industry. We're going to talk about insights, things that all hotel marketers need to know, or anybody that has an interest in hotel marketing. My name's Victoria.
Hi, I'm Nadine.
We're the hosts of this podcast, the Hotel Marketing Show. To kick off the podcast today, in this episode, we're going to be talking about hotel marketing trends for 2022 and what hoteliers or hotel marketers need to know for 2022. To kick this off, Nadine, I'd love to know what's something that you started in 2021 that you're going to continue into 2022.
Good question, Victoria. I think there's a lot of things everyone started in 2021 and we'll see what carries over to 2022. However, I'm going to have to go with candle making.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you?
I think for me, that one of the things that I started in 2021 that I'll take into 2022 is cross-stitching. I got super into cross-stitching.
I haven't heard that one. I've heard sourdough, I've heard candles,
Banana bread,
but cross-stitching is definitely something new.
Yeah.
So.
It's a time-consuming activity, which during lockdown is, I think, exactly what we all need.
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait to see your artwork in the near future.
I'll definitely share it with you. And also, what's something that you want to see in the industry, in the hotel industry in 2022?
Another great question, actually. I think there's so many things that I'm hoping to see. One of them must be to see how hotels or hoteliers are integrating more of the wellness aspect probably into their day-to-day in attracting new guests and seeing how all the changes we actually started doing in 2021 and into 2022 when it comes to your own health and wellness, mental and physical, to see how that affects traveling. And I'm super excited to see all these endless opportunities that are probably still ahead of us that we don't even know about yet.
Oh, I love it. That's a great one.
What about you?
I think something that I'm really excited to see in 2022 is the changes that hotels make as a result of the pandemic. So, hotels have had to think outside of the box. They've had to get creative to make things happen. And I think, that can kind of be a catalyst for a lot of other innovations and changes. And I'm just super excited to see what these changes will actually mean for the hotel industry as a whole in 2022.
Yeah, that's actually very exciting. I think especially talking about innovations, there's so much that is going to happen that will be on the market that we don't even know about. So let's see what this year brings.
Yes. And on that note, well, basically today we're going to talk about, hotel marketing trends for 2022. And, like we've talked about already, even 2020, 2021 they were crazy years for the hotel industry, for hoteliers. And I think looking ahead to 2022, I think there's still a lot of uncertainty. I think we all kind of hoped that, by this stage we would know more what's going on and be able to predict more, what the year will look like in terms of restrictions, whatever. But I think what we do know, or what we can say for sure, is that 2022 will probably still be full of challenges and there'll still be ups and downs. But regardless of that, I think there's a lot of things that, learnings that we can take from the past couple of years that as hotel marketers can learn from that and adapt. So I think already there are some key trends that hoteliers should be aware of for 2022, especially, trying to reach more audiences or new audiences. And I think that, it would be great to go into these in a bit more detail.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this topic, actually. I mean, we've talked about it a lot. I think there's a lot we can say about this. I mean, when we sat together as well, thinking about what are the trends, what will we see in 2022, why are we doing this episode, I think leads quite well into the first trend of what we believe we will see in 2022. And that's just video content and also just emerging social media platforms. So that's going to be a big one.
Yes. And it's super, I think this is a great one because as marketers, there's a lot that we get to do that's, really exciting. And I think that video content, especially in 2022, some of the emerging platforms that we'll talk about, that is really exciting to see what the possibilities are for hoteliers using these new channels.
Yeah, the other day on LinkedIn, I actually saw a fantastic video, which was a TikTok from Caroline von Kretschmann, and she did the Get Jiggy dance. And I thought it was just a very, very fantastic way into a new way of engaging with actual people who are looking to book a visit, because it's a nice way to share your passion along different channels as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I think the thing that was really cool about that video as well is that it wasn't just like buy our rooms, or it wasn't, you know, necessarily like super promotional, but it was showing maybe like a different side of the hotel, or a different, like a side of the personality of the team, but using these, you know, using like these kind of different video platforms.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's so important that we also move away a little bit from the natural selling point of view, but going into new creative ways of thinking of how we can actually engage with website visitors or the audience out there who might book a visit in the near future. And I think these short videos are absolutely fantastic. I mean, we also see it with Instagram Reels, for example.
TikTok as well.
Exactly, TikTok as well. So these are just a fantastic way of engaging with the travelers that you want to reach.
Exactly. And I think we'll talk about it like later on in one of the other trends as well, but you know, with these things like TikTok and Instagram Reels, it's really like reaching maybe a new kind of audience that hoteliers haven't necessarily, you know, reached before or really tried to go after. So I think, you know, thinking about like how this relates to like the trend for 2022, people will be expecting to engage with your brand in a different way, like on the platforms where they are. And so I think that's the thing, is like being on these platforms where your guests are so that you can engage with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another important or fascinating point is as well, and I know we'll go into this a little bit later as well, but where do your potential guests actually find you?
Yeah.
There are so many different ways, and now 2022 definitely will also be the year where we will look for hotels in a completely different manner, and
Totally.
social media is just one of these mediums.
Yeah, totally. And I think TikTok isn't for every hotel, but if it does, you know, suit your brand, if it does align with your target audience, I think having content on TikTok is really great. And like you mentioned, Instagram Reels as well. If you're creating TikToks, put them on Instagram Reels as well. There's no need to necessarily create something entirely new if you're wanting to start out with these different channels. Just start building, you know, creating the content on one, and then, you know, putting that onto this other the other platform as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. I think other trends that we'll see for emerging social media platforms, Pinterest again will be a really strong one for hotels. Pinterest has been around for a while now, and the way that people are searching for travel, you know, when people are looking for inspiration for their trips and where to go, a lot of people now turn to these social media platforms such as, you know, Instagram, looking under like hashtags or location tags, you know, TikTok, looking at different videos and getting inspiration from there, but also Pinterest as well. A lot of people are looking on Pinterest for, you know, to plan their kind of dream trips or get inspiration.
Mood boards.
Exactly. And like Pinterest is like super visual. It's really all about like eye-catching imagery. Exactly like you said, mood boards, and a lot of Pinterest as well is like about guides, right? So, you know, the 10 best places that you need to check out in Amsterdam, or, you know, the hidden spots in Barcelona that only locals know about, or things like that. And as a hotel, if you are already creating content like blogs, you know, linking that to a Pinterest account is a fantastic way to get that content out there at the right time when people are, you know, starting to think about their trips and where they want to go.
Yeah, that's definitely a really interesting one, and I definitely will, for me personally, keep an eye on Pinterest, because I think that's just a great way of finding new things, thinking about or thinking outside of the box than you're used to. So
yeah, 100%. And I know for me personally, when I'm, you know, planning a trip, I turn to Pinterest because I feel like it's already kind of like crowd approved, or, you know, like my peers have already kind of like checked, like, is this information like actually good? So when I'm searching for something, I'm also more able to find things that are more suitable for my tastes as well, like by searching on Pinterest. The great thing about Pinterest is that once you get onto one of these other pins, it shows you all of these other related ones as well. So if you have your content available on Pinterest, all of a sudden, you know, people can say it's like an Amsterdam guide, then, you know, people are finding all of that content that you've collected about Amsterdam, and it's just your hotel, is, if your guide is in there, is going to get so much more reach there as well. And I'm not sure if you've seen, but design hotels, they have an incredibly popular Pinterest page, and you can see like on there that they get I think it's like over 1 million monthly views on their company Pinterest page, and they do mood boards. They basically create a bunch of different boards to inspire travelers, linking it to like their own content, but I think also, you know, other people's content as well.
That's awesome. And I think it's all about 2022 as well, as about sharing communities, building connections. So I think having nice visuals, guides, recommendations, it's all about this sense of community and exchanging experiences.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like going into the second trend for hotel marketing in 2022, this totally relates to what you just said about community influencers in 2022. I think that's going to be a really important trend for hotels. And I know a lot of people who have had anything to do with influencers in the past might like shudder at the thought of influencer, or, you know, they have a negative connotation when they think of working with influencers. But I think for 2022, especially if your team has the budget, you can see influencers as an extension of your marketing team. So, you know, linking back to, you know, talking about the platforms you want to be on in 2022, you know, working with an influencer that, you know, knows TikTok, knows Instagram, and they can actually create content specifically for your hotel. So not thinking about it as like an exchange for like room nights for a couple of posts, but like literally that they are almost like a freelance contractor for your hotel. You create a relationship with them, an ongoing relationship where they can actually create content for these platforms.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important way of looking at it as well, right? As an extension of your team rather than an outside person coming in. And it actually reminds me, the other day I was looking at Instagram as well, and one of the influencers I'm following Instagram is currently at one of our customers, the Cambrian.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so she keeps posting about all these beautiful pictures on the terrace with the Alps, and it awakes this feeling that you want to travel there, and automatically you click on where she is, you get to see a whole bunch of different pictures as well. And I don't know, sometimes you maybe save a picture for your little travel folder or something like this. So I think it's just a fantastic way to actually, again, connect with your community and share what your experience is like.
Yeah, totally. And I think, you know, the other side of influencer, where I think there is a big opportunity in 2022 for hotels, is connecting with micro influencers as well. I think, you know, think about the way that travel has changed over the last couple of years. People are traveling closer to home. There's a lot more domestic travel happening. With this in mind, you know, there's a whole micro influencer. So to go back a step, micro influencers are people that typically have a smaller following. So they're not people that have, you know, 100,000 followers or 1 million followers, but they're people that have maybe a smaller following, but their following is like hyper engaged. So they basically hang on every word that this influencer says. And so if you know that there are these micro influencers in the city that you live or the country that you live, working with them rather than thinking about like having to get this like super high level influencer is a great way to get your budget to go further. The cost for that is a lot smaller, but also, you know, you're talking to people who are actually more engaged and who are more likely to listen to what the influencer has said. So things like staycations or booking the restaurant, small things like that relate to how people's travel behavior has changed over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I also think it's such a perfect example, because having this having the social proof there as well is such a huge factor. If someone now on Instagram says they were traveling with their dog, for example, and it was not a dog friendly hotel, for example, the word spreads like in a friend circle. So I think you can use it in such a positive connotation as well, that you have a big chance of making it a great channel to connect to your guests.
Exactly, yeah.
Also, talking about imagery, staying in the kind of zone of imagery, the third trend we wanted to talk about today was about actual website design and guest-centric website design. So I remember this quote that says, "You never get a second chance to make the first impression," and I think that works extremely well for websites.
It's a great quote.
Yeah,
brilliant.
So it's definitely something that I think everyone needs to keep in mind, because we sit on our laptops or computers or smartphones or tablets basically most of the day.
Yes.
We see a lot of different things online,
and there's a lot of information coming from a lot of different places.
Exactly. So you need to grab the attention right where it is. So as a hotelier, you need to make sure you have a website that really reflects what message you're actually trying to convey. And I think part of that is also understanding to, yes, we want a lot of information, maybe we want to find the right information, but it's so important not to overload your page.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
I mean, I think we've all been on websites where there was just so much information that just because of all the information, we couldn't find the information. So we always say as well, you need to create a pleasurable experience for your website visitors with simplified templates, and also make sure to use white space or negative space.
Exactly. And I think, we have a whole, separate guide or separate blog about website design trends for 2022. And I think exactly like what you just said, making use of like the negative space or not being afraid of like negative space or white space on a website. Going into 2022, this is like the website design trends. And, a lot of old-fashioned websites have like a lot of, it's like pretty much everything on the page is like full. There's like blocks and blocks and blocks of text everywhere and images everywhere. And the trends that we're seeing more in web design these days is that more kind of simplistic, very like minimalist, highly designed website templates. Guests are going to start to expect that. So I think guest-centered website design, a huge trend for 2022. With these websites, when you're creating them, it's really important to also keep in mind things like the page load speed or image quality. And as things are changing, you want to make sure that your website is keeping up with not just like visual trends, but also trends in terms of usability and actual experience. So if you don't want to compromise on image quality to have good page speed, you need a design, or you need to be using a software that allows you to have like a good image, but also a good page speed. And thankfully, as technology is progressing, this is actually becoming something that is achievable.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's so nice if you browse the internet, and then it depends what you're looking for, of course, but to come to a website and just have this refreshing kind of eyesight, it makes me extremely happy. So I can't be the only one, but I think, like you said, it's so important not to make compromises on the wrong ends, and make sure to, create a website that you stand for and that your hotel stands for.
Exactly. Expectations around website experience are changing, and what we're also seeing is that this also leads into our next trend here, like expectations in terms of communication are also changing as well. So our fourth trend for 2022 is live chat and chatbots, and this is not something that, if you keep up with hotel tech, this isn't something that maybe is a surprise to you, but the reason why we think this is such a key trend for 2022 is, the expectation of being able to be in touch or like get an answer instantly. I think what we've seen over the pandemic is there's a lot more information that people want at their fingertips to be able to make a decision about, a place that they stay, or, maybe there's important information around, current restrictions or facilities available at the hotel. And I think, this is something that the industry is really aware of, is that the industry is facing staff shortages, and something like live chat is a really great practical, or live chat or a chatbot is a really great practical way that you can still provide service to your guests when you don't necessarily have the people power to be available 24/7.
Yeah, and we also talk about personalization a lot, not only when it comes to online, but offline, of course, as well. And I think live chat and chatbot is just a fantastic way to personalize your page without, again, overloading it, because you have the ability there for your guests to come to your website, have a question that really pertains only to them, and they can quickly write in the chat and say, am I allowed to bring my dog, Rolo? And the answer can be very quick from the front office, just a quick shortcut to say, like, yes, dogs are allowed. We're more than happy to supply you with a dog bed and a food bowl.
Exactly. And I think that's a really key point as well, is like, equipping your team to have the answers there as well, right? So, from a practical point of view, get together as a team and think of what are the common, like, questions that your team is asked, right? So that when these questions come through, people are able to get a response quickly. Or, you know, if it's like if you're using a chatbot, then you can set up your chatbot to be able to answer these specific questions as well. And thinking more specifically, you know, add things in that are related to the situation that's going on, right? So what are the COVID restrictions that is in your city, or are there facilities in your hotel that are currently closed, you know, things like that. So think about not just, you know, the overall common questions, but things that are specific to what's happening at the moment as well.
Yeah, and as things and life get more and more complicated, we as humans seek for more and more simplicity. So really being there before the question even arises, or latest when the question arises, is just super essential.
Yeah, so true.
And I think that also leads actually quite nicely into the fifth trend, which is the growing importance of meta search. And I know you watched my speech at Coco because you were there with me in Cologne, but I was talking about meta search and also really being where your guests are, because if we think back to the time of how we searched for a hotel maybe pre-pandemic or just a couple of years ago, you know, you would type in the city name, type in hotel, maybe you had one or two special things you definitely wanted to have, and you would just, basically Google your accommodation. Nowadays, the search behavior has changed so drastically that not only is, yes, Google, of course, is still being used, but for example, Google Maps, right? I know the city where I want to go to, but I'm going to zoom in on my map and say, okay, I want to be maybe close to the beach. Yes. I want to be
in the
downtown.
Old town.
Exactly. And then really filter that way before you even start your search and get overcrowded or overloaded with information of hotels. So meta search is extremely important, and we've seen, read, heard everything that meta search will also be the biggest source of where people will book in 2022. And one important thing, of course, is it doesn't start and stop with meta search, right? You have your guest on your website, but now you need to convert them.
Oh, it's so true. And I think this is something that is very, very important in 2022. But I was actually just in Barcelona in the weekend, and when I was looking for a hotel, first of all, I found the area of town that I wanted to be in, where I wanted to stay, searched for hotels on Google Maps, went into the hotel or clicked on the hotel that I liked the look of, and then ended up in the booking engine, no information, like maybe 1 or 2 points.
Maybe an espresso machine and 2 capsules.
Exactly. It was like a kettle in the room, a safe in the room or something. I'm like, okay, cool, that's great. But like, I need to know more. Like, I'm not ready to book yet. Like, I've literally just clicked through. Like, I need to know about this hotel.
Yeah. And I think it's also the perfect place if you have this traffic, you know someone is interested. I mean, they made it all the way to the bottom of your funnel, basically, into your booking engine. They're right there. How can you convert them? What do they want to know? If you were traveling as a hotelier, think about what would you want to know. Do you want to know that there's a coffee machine, or would you like to know that there's a beautiful terrace overlooking the ocean by sunset where you can have a drink?
Yeah.
So definitely thinking about what information is actually relevant is essential.
It's so true. And like, I think traditionally hotels have put so much emphasis on the website and creating like beautiful websites with lots of information, and that's great if people are starting their journey on that homepage or on your rooms page, like whatever it is, somewhere on your website. But as the buying behavior changes and people are coming straight from meta search into the booking engine has to adapt to have that information that guests need to make their decision.
Yeah, definitely. And I think another good point here is as well that once you have that traffic there, it's the perfect opportunity as well to understand your guest on the page. If they're scrolling for a very long time and then they stop, for example, is there maybe information that they're missing? Could you blend in a message to say, can we help you? Send us a direct message.
Totally.
Again, perfect place for maybe a little live chatbot.
Fantastic. And I think also one thing which is actually quite exciting, why this is, such an exciting trend, is that if people are going into the booking engine, straight away, there's so much more information to create a personalized experience. We
Absolutely.
know the dates that they're looking for. We know if you're a chain, like we know which location they're looking at.
We know if you're a family.
Exactly. And so I think that this is such an exciting you know, it can be easy to see this as, you know, scary or, you know, challenging because things are changing. But I think it's such an exciting moment to get ahead of that as well and grab onto that personalization and really make that experience on the booking engine much more elevated.
Yeah.
Trend number 6 for 2022, I think this is probably one of my favorite trends for 2022. It's about updated hotel loyalty programs. I think this is something that we've kind of seen like a few whispers, a few kind of conversations about so far, but I think this is really important because guest attitudes or guest expectations, guest attitudes towards loyalty programs have changed. And so guests now, they want immediate benefits. They don't want to collect points to maybe get something later down the line. Like they want to be rewarded for joining your loyalty program instantly.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think this has to be one of my favorite trends as well, just because it's an oldie but goldie, because we always heard about loyalty programs. They've always been there, but they're making a massive comeback, even though they really never left. But there will be such a drastic change in 2022. And like you said, people want to have the instant gratification. They don't want to sign up for something now and maybe receive something in 6 months.
Yes.
I know that for me personally as well, if I sign up for a newsletter, I sign up because oftentimes it then says sign up for our newsletter and get 10% off. Mm-hmm. And I know I want to order now, so this is perfect.
Yeah.
And then I have the newsletter, I keep it, I'm interested, but it's just, I'm not going to sign up for something where it says sign up now and in 6 months you're maybe going to get 5 points you can then redeem in a year.
Exactly. And from a brand point of view, you know, they've got a connection with you now. They've got a way to get back in touch with you again. And I think this is really important for hotel marketers to think about, is that like expect there to be a shift away, like a market shift away from this traditional point system and a shift towards instant rewards. So things like a free sunset drink or a voucher for the spa or something like that, something that will reward your loyalty members and give you the opportunity to stand out from your competitors. And I think if you come back to, you know, what is the purpose of a loyalty program? Like, what would you say, like, the purpose of a loyalty program is for a hotel?
I think the purpose of a loyalty program for a hotel is literally the loyalty. I mean, I think really being able to provide your guests with something that is unique to your property is just essential, and that's what makes or breaks.
Yes. 100%. And so, like, with that in mind, we want to encourage repeat bookings. We want to encourage people to come back, and a great way to do that is to surprise and delight them, like offer them something that is memorable, that is a great experience for them. And so I think it's a great opportunity for hoteliers to adjust their loyalty programs to offer this and to understand the changing guest behavior so that they are able to, you know, connect with these guests and encourage these repeat bookings.
Yeah, and I think also what is going to be so fascinating about this is that I haven't yet come across, I think, something where I was really wowed in the sense of, wow, this is innovative, this is unique, this is so special. So I think there will be a huge shift because someone's going to start and the ball is going to roll.
Yes.
And I think more and more hoteliers are understanding the importance of understanding their property and using and utilizing their property, because not everyone has a terrace overlooking the city maybe where they can offer sunset drinks. Others maybe do not have the amazing spa facilities. So every single hotel is so unique, and I'm sure there are so many things that can actually be done. So I can't wait to see.
Yeah, fantastic. It'll be exciting. And I think, you know, like I said at the start, like these moments of big change, they are a catalyst for these innovations. And I think, you know, repeat business is, you know, what they say, it's like cheaper to retain a customer than to try and get a new one. And I think that that's something that, you know, hotel marketers need to keep in mind moving into 2022 as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And actually also tying into the seventh trend, the seventh and last trend that we wanted to talk about today was reaching next gen travelers, and these are millennials and Gen Z travelers. Yeah, so this is where it gets exciting. They're super essential now, right? Because we're eager to travel, we have the time, we have the money and resources to do it.
And no remote responsibilities.
Well,
some responsibilities.
But definitely also the luxury of time. And by time, I don't mean necessarily only free time, but working remote has become obviously a big, big, big thing throughout this pandemic. So we have the possibility to say, hey, we want to work from destination A for 2 weeks, B for 3 weeks. It really depends. So that is extremely important. And I think that especially these next gen travelers, what they're looking for is really authenticity, flexibility, but also digital engagement. So what that means also is that they don't want to be sold to in the traditional sense, how it was sold to, let's say, 30, 40, 10 years ago.
Yeah, totally.
So of course we seek adventure, new things. We want to have innovation, and I think it's what you mentioned as well at the beginning when we did the little introduction, and you were talking about what you hope to see more of in 2022, innovation.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the big points here as well.
Yeah, totally. And like I think this one has to be probably my favorite trend. I feel like I've said that for everyone.
Yeah, now I feel like you've said that for every trend so far.
But I think I really like this one because for next gen travelers, exactly like you said, they're looking for adventure, they're looking for something unique, they're looking for something sustainable and something authentic. And I think that gives so many opportunities for hotels to do something really cool with their positioning and their marketing. And I saw on LinkedIn this great event that the Student Hotel in Berlin are doing, and the Student Hotel are such a funky brand, like a really amazing brand, and they have this hip-hop brunch coming up, which is there's a DJ, there's bottomless gin and juice, like there's hip-hop and R&B, and I think that's so cool because it's such an authentic thing for that brand. It's such an authentic way for that brand to connect with the guests, maybe the students that are, staying at the hotel. But it's really a fresh way to, connect with this new generation.
Yeah, and also, again, here, perfect point, right? It's really knowing and understanding who your guest is and tailoring experiences to that.
Yeah.
And I think this is also a wonderful example if we would go a few trends back to say, if I land through meta search at the Student Hotel in Berlin, what do I want to see on their booking engine? Do I want to see that they have a coffee machine in the room? Or do I want to see that maybe on that day that I'm looking for, that they have bottomless brunch?
Yes, totally. It's like they also want to feel like they have stumbled across a hidden gem. And so if you have that kind of message on your booking engine, or that is communicated to them about something that feels really authentic and unique and personalized, they do get that sense of, oh, this is for me, like this is special for me. And I think why I like this trend, or why I think this trend,
this is your favorite one,
why this is my favorite one is I think that this relates to pretty much every other trend for 2022, because when you think about what we know about these travelers is how do they get their information. They rely on influencers, they rely on blogs and guides. So going back to video content and emerging platforms as a trend, going back to influencers as a trend, even things like going back to guest-centered website design, like these are the things that this new generation of people that are starting to have more money and freedom, that they're really looking for.
Yeah, I mean, the same way you come back and say everything is your favorite trend, I keep coming back to my coffee machine. But again, here we are, right? We're talking about Instagram, we're talking about social media, we're talking about sexy imagery.
Yeah.
What are you going to look at more on Instagram? Are you going to post a coffee machine with 2 capsules, or are you going to post that you are bottomless gin and juice?
Exactly. So, yeah, it's so true.
You have the possibility to, of course, offline create content for online, and it's just a perfect way to merge both worlds.
Yeah, it's so true. So those are all of our 2022 hotel marketing trends. Is there anything that you think we've missed or need to cover?
No, I think there's so much more we can cover, obviously.
I think so too.
But no, I think for now, I think this is the most important, and they're all our favorite ones.
Exactly. And I think, what we'd love is like for you to share your thoughts with us as well, right? So if you think there's any trends that we've missed, or anything that, you think is important for other hoteliers to know about for 2022, like we'd love to hear from you. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can get in touch with us at welcome@hotelchamp.com, or you can find us on social. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Live chat on our
website. Yeah, and we'd love to hear from you on your thoughts on the 2022 hotel marketing trends, or tell us something that you're excited about for 2022.
Or your quarantine hobby.
Oh yeah, I'd love to know. Yeah, I mean, who else has picked up cross stitch? I don't think many.
I think I probably have more followers with my candle making, but I don't know. I haven't picked up the community favorite, which is sourdough bread. So
True. Well, maybe that's for a new one you can do in 2022.
That's for 2022.
Exactly. But yeah, so that's those are our hotel marketing trends for 2022. So
keep an eye on us.
Yes, exactly. And stay tuned for more episodes in the future, and take care of yourself. Have a great day. And that was the Hotel Marketing Show.
Bye-bye.